The last set of bones that we're going to cover is the lower leg. So we're going to start with the femur. That's the largest bone in the body, and that's this guy here. That's the upper leg bone. And we have a variety of features here. First, we have the head, which is the ball for the ball and socket hip joint. And that's going to connect to the acetabulum of the os coxa. So you can see right here, it's going to sit just like that. So the head fits into the acetabulum. Then on the head, there's this little divot. That's called the fovea capitis. And a ligament's going to attach there to help hold that head into that acetabulum to kind of lock it in position. We have the two trochanters, the greater trochanter, which is the big lump, and the lesser trochanter, which is the little lump, that are going to be just distal to that head. As we go down the shaft of the bone, or the diaphysis, we've got a ridge right down the posterior surface. That's called the linea aspera, and that's, again, going to be a muscle attachment point. Then as we get to the distal end, we have two condyles. The medial condyle, that's going to be on the same side that the head is on. And then the lateral condyle, those are your knee joints. That's what lets you bend your knee. All right, but we have two of them, the medial and the lateral. So again, this is the posterior surface. If I flip it over, we have the smooth side. That's going to be your anterior surface of the femur. Now, for the knee joint, the femur is going to connect to the tibia, okay, and that's what's going to allow that knee to move. But right on top of that, we have this little bone right here called the patella, and that's going to be your kneecap. So this little kind of triangular shaped bone, okay, that's the patella, and it's going to sit right kind of on top of the femur and the tibia, that connection. As we move to the lower leg, we have two bones of the lower leg, the tibia right here, which is the large bone, and then the fibula that's going to sit next to it, right here, and that's going to be the fibula, and the skinny bone. So tibia, large bone, fibula, skinny bone. Now, the tibia has several different features. One, at the top, we have this very flat surface, but we have this piece that sticks up in the middle. That's called the intercondylar eminence. And it's basically the protrusion that sticks up between the two condyles. So the condyles of the femur sit here and here, and then right in the middle we have that piece of bone that sticks up. Then on the front, just below the knee, we have this big lump. That big lump's called the tibial tuberosity, and you can actually feel that on yourself just below your knee. If you run your finger down the front of your shin, you'll feel that right at the top. That's the tibial tuberosity. Coming down from that, we kind of have a sharp edge to that bone. It's called the anterior crest of the tibia. So right off of that tibial tuberosity, down the middle, anterior crest. Coming down to the bottom where we have this kind of hook that hooks down. That hook is the medial malleolus or medial malleolus. The pronunciation doesn't really matter. But that hook is going to be the lump that you feel on the inside of your ankle. So that inside ankle bone, that's that medial malleolus right here. Now the fibula is going to sit lateral to that right here. And what you can see here is, if you look at the distal end, let me flip it around here, you can see we've got our medial malleolus here. Well, opposite that with the fibula, that's going to be the lateral malleolus. And that's going to be the outside ankle bone. Then on the proximal end, we have this kind of rounded surface. That's going to be the head of the fibula. And this is a plastic cast, so it's a little bent. It should be more of a straight bone. Let me see if I can straighten it out a bit. There we go, a little bit straighter there for you. So distal end, that's the lateral malleolus, and proximal end, that's going to be the head of the fibula. And again, it's going to sit lateral. So the medial bone is going to be the tibia, and the lateral bone is going to be the fibula of the lower leg. Last set of bones is going to be the foot bones. So let me pull the foot over. Here we go. So on the foot, we've got these rock-shaped, randomly shaped bones. Those are the tarsals, and you'll see we have 7 of them. So 1, 2, 3, those are the big ones. 4, 5, 6, 7, those are the smaller. And those are going to be the bones of the heel and the ankle. So the tibia is actually going to sit right here, And that ridge right there, that's what lets you flex and point your toes. So that's going to be where the tibia sits. And then the medial and lateral malleoluses are going to sit right there. So that's what you feel. Then across the ball of your foot, we have the metatarsals, and there's going to be one for each toe. And then the bones of the toes themselves is going to be very similar to the hand. So we have 2 for the big toe, or the hallux, and 3 per other toe, for a total of 14 phalanges per foot. So 14 phalanges, 5 metatarsals, and 7 tarsals make up each foot.